to an educational session on nutrition and physical activity. My name is Carrie Lakakis, registered dietitian for RWJ Barnabas Health. This session is all about building a healthy plate.
Today's nutrition code word is plate. P-L-A-T-E. Plate. Remember to submit your code word today.
So take a look at this infographic here. This is a picture of the My Plate with some images of the 5 food groups. The 5 food groups are fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. And while this information may seem kind of simplistic, it's actually really useful when you're thinking about, well, how do I create a healthy meal? What should I put on my plate? We're going to dive into each one of these food groups in more detail. Let's start with the protein group. So the protein group is a macronutrient, which means that it does provide calories, but this is a nutrient and it's also the name of the food group. So the protein, what we use protein for is primarily for cell synthesis. It's what our body is completely made up of. So when it comes to sports nutrition and exercise, protein is used for muscle rebuilding and repair. So it is an essential nutrient. We find protein in animal products like chicken and eggs, but we also find a lot of protein in non-animal products, what we call plant proteins. We've got a nice picture here of those. Beans, nuts, and seeds are all healthy sources of plant protein. Now, while it's okay to have animal proteins too, there are some good reason that you want to try to include at least some plant proteins into your daily meals and into your snacks. So plant proteins, they do have a good source of fiber, but they also have healthy fats, those omega-3 fatty acids that are not in so much in the chicken and meats that we eat. They are in fish, but they aren't in those other animal products. But the nuts and seeds are great sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which are good for our heart health and also for our brain. They have fiber in them. Now, animal sources of protein, chicken and fish and meat, they don't have any fiber in them. So it's while it will help keep you satiety because of that protein, that fiber is an added bonus to the plant proteins like beans, nuts, and seeds. So it's a good idea to include at least some seeds and nuts at least 3 times per week. Now, nuts and seeds are really a great choice for anybody who's exercising and is looking for a quick meal or snack because you can grab them on the go. They don't take any preparation and they're healthy for you. You can eat them in your car. You can eat them immediately after a workout. And so they're a healthy and easy snack for you to take on the go. Serving sizes. So what do we want to include on our plate? We want to include about the portion size of our palm for protein. And this is going to be about a quarter cup of nuts or a half a cup of beans if we're choosing the plant protein. Let's see what's next. Fruits and veggies. So most of us do need to increase our vegetable consumption. We want to aim for 3 to 6 cups of vegetables a day and 2 cups of fruit. Now, why is there a difference between the fruit and veggies? So they're both packed with nutrients. They've got some water in there, which is great. They're high in fiber. A lot of the nutrients our body that needs for essential functioning, as well as physical fitness. But the vegetables are low in calories. Non-starchy vegetables, any kind of greens and broccoli, spinach, kale, zucchini, the options are endless, are lower in carbohydrates and lower in calories, but super packed with nutrients. Fruit, on the other hand, does contain calories. It does contain some carbohydrates, which is not a bad thing. It's just because it's higher in calories, there is a limit to it. We want to try to eat at least 2 cups of fruit a day, but we don't want to go over that too much for the most part. And this obviously depends on how many calories that you should be eating for the day. Fruits and veggies, fresh, frozen, canned, or dried. Goes in that order. Fresh is best, frozen is second, canned and dried comes last. But there are some benefits to frozen vegetables. Frozen vegetables are harvested at their peak ripeness. So they are super packed with the nutrients at the time that they are harvested and picked, and then they're full as frozen. So those nutrients actually do stay intact and in that fruit or vegetable that's frozen. So frozen is a very, very good second. And in fact, sometimes it actually could have more nutrients depending on how long produce or fruit or vegetable has been sitting on the supermarket shelf. If it's been sitting there for a long time, you may actually find that the frozen vegetables is packed with more nutrients. There really isn't too many benefits to canned vegetables. It's really when frozen and fresh are not an option for you. Now, dried, I will say there are some benefits to dried fruit, especially for athletes in exercise performance. And that's because dried fruit is a good source of carbohydrates. You can take it on the go. It's kind of a quick snack to get a good source of calories and carbohydrates in a small amount. Sometimes you don't have time to eat a large meal, or you're on a hike and you need to eat something in the middle of it. So dried fruit can be a good healthy snack, especially when paired with protein for exercise performance. Next, we have dairy. Now, dairy includes 2 essential nutrients in terms of vitamins and minerals: calcium and vitamin D. The vitamin D is added to the calcium. Calcium and vitamin D work great together, so it's great that they added into something that's already high in calcium. We want to try and get 2 servings of calcium a day. Of dairy a day. 2 servings of dairy a day, and that should be low-fat milk, or try low-fat Greek yogurt, which is very high in protein. Cheese is also considered there. Now, the recommendation is you shouldn't typically choose the full fat version all the time, but you also don't need to go completely fat-free. It may not taste that great. And so I'd rather encourage you to go the low-fat version. We are allowed some amount of fat in our diet than the fat-free version. And we do need those calories to support our exercise and our workouts. In fact, chocolate milk is an excellent after-workout snack, because that chocolate, that added sugar, yes, it's added sugar, but that sugar is also a carbohydrate. So that added sugar in chocolate milk provides carbohydrates that can refuel your body after you were just finished exercising. So it not only contains some extra carbohydrates, but it's a good source of protein as well. So try it. Chocolate milk can be a healthy snack throughout the day, once or twice here and there, but it can also be a good after workout. Whole grains. Let's talk a little bit more about whole grains. So whole grains are, let's think about corn. Yes, corn is a grain. Oats, rice, wheat, barley, quinoa, farro. These are all whole grains. I mean, the common ones are oats, rice, corn, and wheat. Many things are made out of wheat. Now, all of these grains have 3 parts to them. If they're unprocessed, they have bran, endosperm, and germ. And these play essential roles in including nutrients in the whole grain. So the bran gives us fiber. It's that outer layer. It's a little bit more tougher. You may have heard of bran cereal or raisin bran. Those cereals are made out of primarily the actual bran. And so that's good. That's healthy. We want to make sure that our grains still have that layer intact in there. Then we have the endosperm. Now this middle section is just carbohydrates, a little bit of protein, not a lot of nutrients. Then we have the germ, and it's this little kind of football-shaped section of the grain, and it has essential fatty acids like omega-3s, vitamin E, B vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. Great stuff. But unfortunately, many of our grain foods, like pastas and breads, are processed, and they take out all of these beautiful layers. There's no bran, there's no germ, and they do this so that the bread and pastas are more kind of white and soft in texture. They have a bland taste. They don't have that kind of nutty flavor, which I particularly happen to enjoy. They're not as healthy for us. We want that fiber. We want those nutrients. So what do we look for? We want to look for 100% whole grain. When you see this word, this number, 100% whole grain, you know that it's going to include all 3 parts: bran, endosperm, and germ. If it doesn't say 100% whole grain on the pasta, crackers, or bread, then it's not going to include all 3 parts and not be as healthy. Now, the only catch to this is if you are looking to exercise and you need something really quick and easy to digest, it's okay to eat some regular bread and pasta that's not whole grain. That kind of bread and pasta will have, or crackers, will have less fiber in it, and you'll digest it a little bit quicker and use that nutrients quicker for that workout. So think of that as if you need to eat something and you're going to be working out within the hour, right? And you're not going to have a lot of time to digest. If you're looking for post-workout meals and snacks, it's okay to have some of that whole grain and that fiber in there. Your body will be able to digest it and get back to storing the carbohydrates and the nutrients that your body used during that workout. So look for 100% whole grain when it comes to the grain group. Thank you for listening. To summarize this session, when we're thinking about building a healthy plate, we want to try to include those 5 food groups with most of our meals. And we can even at least strive to choose 3 of those food groups for most of our meals. And let's recall, our food groups are fruits, vegetables, grains, protein, and dairy. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.